Hey, real quick, before we dive in, if you're an agency owner who is doing everything yourself, I want to let you know about this 7 day free trial opening up for the agency playbook. This is our full 8 system framework that over 20,000 agency owners have used to scale smarter. This is the exact system that I normally sell for over $1,600, but right now you can dive in and test it out. If you're ready to stop winging it and start building an agency that runs without you, head over to jasonswank.com/playbook. That's jasonswank.com/playbook. You're listening to the Smart Agency Masterclass with me, Jason Swank, and we're bringing you this episode courtesy of our friends at Wix Studio. Let's go ahead and get into the show. Hey, Tim, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jason. Glad to be back. How you doing?
Doing good. For the ones that have not checked out the previous episode, tell us who you are, what you do.
Yeah. So Tim Condon. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at Clutch. For those of you who don't know, Clutch is it's the biggest B2B service provider marketplace online. We provide sort of a place for agencies to showcase, the services that they offer, gather reviews, and then buyers, find us and then are able to sort of make their selection. We've got, this point, over 300,000 agencies on the platform.
Awesome. Well, you talk to a lot of agencies, and are you seeing agencies being concerned about, the market changing with AI, or what are you seeing?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? This is obviously the topic du jour for everybody. God, I hear so many different opinions, right? So some have said, I don't think it's going to impact my business because I just deal with dentists, doctors, right? Like, these sort of small businesses, which I don't know, maybe that's true, maybe not, right? Maybe it's just a timing thing. And then I hear other agencies. We talked to this one agency out in San Francisco who not only has completely used AI to transform their entire internal process, but they're actually turning it into, a software product that other agencies can use. But I think most are in between, where they're sort of like, I know I need to use it, but I'm also a little nervous because gosh, those tools are getting really good. And are they going to displace me, right? And the things I can do.
My point of view, it depends on who you're going after. And it's not really kind of industry, but if an agency is going after me, like someone that loves to dabble, loves technology, loves to research, loves to roll up my sleeves and learn how to do it and go do it, yeah, you're going to be replaced. But most people, 99% of the people are not like me, where they want to know how to do it, but they don't want to mess with it. And there'll always be those agencies there. And I see, even from our business, of how much it's helped us streamline things, from even creating, I always talk about this, creating custom GBTs for different board members, for marketing, for managing the community, for sales evaluations and sales training and that kind of stuff. I'm like, if you're not doing things like that now, you're already behind the ball. I mean, like, why wouldn't you put all that stuff in there?
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think, like I said, this one agency out in San Francisco, when I saw what they were doing, and it wasn't that complicated, right? They just had a big folder structure and they used, an LLM to sort of like search through and then have a structure for the output. But if you're not doing that stuff, you're spending a lot of time doing the same stuff over and over again. And so to me, I agree with you. If you're not at least figuring out, or like hiring somebody to help you figure out, or tasking somebody internally with like owning that as a function, yeah, you're going to fall behind and you will get disrupted, but not because of AI, but because somebody else figured out how to use AI.
Yeah. And, I did a recent episode on this not too long ago about, AI is kind of following the Uber model, right? So if you guys remember when Uber came out, it was pretty cheap and they got us hooked. It was kind of like, I've never done cocaine, but for the people that get addicted to cocaine, right? Like, here's a little taste and then they're addicted to it. And AI is the same way. Like, there's no way these prices are going to stay the same. They're going to go up significantly just because of, think about how much AI is saving you a year. It's able to, a lot of times, replace people's salaries on different things. And I just want you guys to be prepared. Like what I said in this episode is you're training one particular LLM, but you got to make sure you document that process. So when that price goes way up, you can switch very easily. Because I made that mistake when I was training a custom GBT in the very beginning. I would upload all this information or knowledge to it, but then I couldn't download that to go train, Gemini's or whatever. So I basically just created a folder. So I just want everyone to kind of get ahead of it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is probably not for this episode, but there's just a lot of talk out there as to who is going to be the winner, right? Is it going to be the platforms? Is it going to be the people who build on top of it? Is it going to be the end companies? And frankly, I think it could be all of the above. But the more models there are, and the more you can tap into, not just one model, as you said, but like, we at least keep them honest, right? Like, and make sure they can't all sort of gouge us, right?
Yeah, I see it coming. They're charging what, $20 a month, sometimes 200 a month. They're losing money on most people, especially on the computing power that we're running through this. Because I know, like, I've created a lot of custom AI agents, and I know what my bill is from how much it's going through and processing and all of that. And then I look at the others, I was like, well, maybe it's the volume, but no, it's coming.
Yeah. Well, and you probably also see the other side, which is like how much you're saving. And you're like, this margin won't last, right? Like,
yeah, I know. But I also think, like, I agree with you. Like, the brands that hire these internal teams that understand AI, all right, that's the other thing too. Like, if you're an agency and you're working with bigger brands, those brands are probably going to bring in a lot of the internal people that can run these things. And that could be detrimental to certain agencies. But if you specialize in this and really start not just going to ChatGPT and asking it questions, like, if you're doing that, you're way behind everybody else. I mean, literally, you should be building things and figuring that out now. If not before this episode, make sure you start having your team dig into it. And if your team doesn't want to dig into it, get a new team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many tools out there. We use a tool called Gumloop. We also use Clay, which, is a pretty big marketing tool. There's N8. Like, there's so many tools out there that make it actually pretty easy, right? I mean, just to sort of play around if you're not super technical.
Yeah. I mean, most of them are point and click. And then if you do have to do any coding, you can go to one of the models and ask it to code. Like,
right.
I always joke around when I used to be a really bad programmer and I could do HTML. Like, when I was creating my first websites, I would do it in HTML and tables. But when CSS came out, I was like, what is this thing? Like, I never could figure it out, especially JavaScript. I was like, I hate this stuff. But when I was building the site the other day, I was like, oh man, I'd love to have, like, the questions you need to ask for the software that we're developing, like, have this rotate in this box. And I just described it and it created it for me. It was like magic. I was like, this is the coolest thing. Like, look how good I am now.
Yeah. It was not until last week that I understood that that's what actually vibe coding means, right? Like, you just tell it what you want and it produces it for you, right? And it's,
I think I read Salesforce won't hire any more developers. 50% of their code, I think, like, Facebook's 50% of their code is all written by AI now, which is nuts.
But, it's just sort of an evolution, because if you think about it, like, look, I'm a technically aware but not technical person. Nobody's writing at the basic operating system level anymore, right? Like, it's just another level of, like, abstraction. And so, like, it's just, if you understand the concepts, everything's just getting easier and easier to do.
That's what I really like, because my degree was in programming, which is hilarious. But, I always joke around that I paid people to do my work. So I learned how to outsource at an early age. But I understood the logic or the pseudocode when people are programming. And that's really all you need to do is, like, what do I want to do? And you can even, that's all you have to do is, like, hey, I want to create this kind of app for my business to do this. Like, you literally need to dream of this. Like, I'm using this one company to write a lot of AI agents for me. And what I wish they would do, they're more of just an order taker right now. And so I'm trying to coach them and be like, no. you got to come into businesses, right? And this is how agencies need to look at too. Like, you need to start providing and creating this for your clients because that's a part of solution. Like, I have AI agents going out, looking and scraping sites and pulling in that data and then researching that and then putting it in, like something that would take someone a long time. Or when someone books a podcast interview with me, it takes the questions that they answered, looks at LinkedIn, does all that research, and helps me come up with some starting questions to start out. Like, if you could do this and be that advisor, right, people are going to trust you because every agency, most of the agencies that I've hired, they act as order takers. They're like, Jason, what do you want me to do? I'm like, it frustrates the crap out of me.
Yeah. It's a really good point because it sort of brings you back to what is the purpose of an agency, right? And it's to solve problems. And, back to that whole idea of like the dentist or the doctor, like they're not going to know what's possible, right? Like your job is to come in and tell them what's possible. And then you just get that instant credibility of like, oh my God, like, and then you just got to figure out how to do it, right? Like you don't have to know exactly how to do it. Like you said, you're going to hire a company that can actually like execute, but the knowing what's possible is the important thing here.
Look, your agency adapts for every client, right? Your builder should do the same. That's why Wix Studio is built for the way you actually create. AI-powered site mapping lets you get straight down to the design. Whether you shape things in Figma or start in Studio, your vision's coming to life quicker with no-code animations and built-in responsiveness. And for client growth that actually scale, you've got extendable business solutions and a dynamic CMS. Scale your agency at wixstudio.com.
You got to be good at asking the right questions because I go back to the quote from Steve Jobs. He's like, which he was a tyrant though, but I was listening to an interview with, I think, Mr. Wonderful, from Shark Tank,
Yeah.
Kevin O'Leary or whatever. And I guess he had a company that would work directly with Steve Jobs on like training, like doing the Oregon Trail. Did you ever do the Oregon Trail when you were growing up?
Yeah.
And Kevin would go, well, we have to ask the teachers and the students and the parents, what do they want out of this? And Steve's like, I don't care. How are they going to know what they want? I'm going to tell them what they want.
Yeah, right. Because they don't even know what they should want.
Yeah. Everyone that is your client, a good client for you, not like me, has no clue what AI can do. They just think, go ask it a question and return. And it's kind of like, what is it, like the slot machine? Like you never know what you're going to get based on this basic question.
Right.
But if you can be that advisor, you can dominate. That's what everybody wants.
I saw this, I was telling you earlier, I saw this great quote on Reddit. I actually have it right up here. And because there was all this whole thread about like, is AI going to undermine the digital marketing agency? And the post was all about like, remember what you're doing. Your purpose is being held accountable, right? Somebody wants a problem solved. You can't hold AI accountable. Like if AI gets it wrong, like can't like go back to the chatbot. And so your whole job is to be the person who gets it done, be the team that gets it done, right? And if you could lay on top of that, I'm going to tell you what you didn't even know was possible and then be held accountable for getting it done. Like that's a home run, especially if you're dealing with small to mid-size type businesses.
Yeah. I just think there's too many people out there that ran an agency into the ground and then they started teaching people how to do agency services and like living the nomad life.
Yeah.
And I'm totally being honest, right? Because I see that all the time. They're like, oh, if you want to travel the world and be a millionaire like me and, learn how to do this.
Yeah.
Those make the worst agencies. It's the best agencies, founders, they're accidental. They worked for an agency and was like, I can do it better, or they knew how to do a particular service really well. And then people started asking them for it. And there's just so many people that are just chasing that kind of lifestyle without kind of going into the right way, which everyone listening to the show is not the chaser of that lifestyle. They want more freedom. They want to do more work, and how to do a particular service really well. and there's just a lot more competition. How do you feel agencies can really, I'm just curious, like how can they stand out from those fly by night companies?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question because it's, we do background checks on companies on Clutch. And that's a starting point, knowing like, hey, how long you've been in business, how many clients can speak about you, but you need to be in the consideration set. And then you've got to show like, here's what I can do for you that you didn't even think was possible. Or here's the problem that you didn't even know you had, right? That I've solved for somebody else. And that's hard to get. We try to do that. We use AI to sort of pull from all of our reviews and sort of get themes, especially if we know what the buyer is looking for, to try and say, hey, this project looks a lot like yours, right? The one that you've described. But that's how I think about it is the more you can showcase, I've done this and solved this problem for somebody else, and it's very similar to what the problem you're looking to solve. Usually when you can get to that level of granularity, the fly-by-night companies can't. And they're talking like up here, the more you can get into those details of like, here's what I did and and the more you can have a third party validate that, like we feel like that's sort of our role too, is like help validate the companies that actually have done the work.
I also think I was interviewing someone last week, and they've grown to a little over 4 million in a couple of years, and they did it all through thought leadership. Obviously, I believe in personal branding. I did it at the agency. When I was running the agency, I didn't want people to know who I was. I just wanted to build the brand because I felt like everyone else, I was like, if I brand it me, I'm going to have to do all the work. And that's not the case, right? Like Gary Vaynerchuk with VaynerMedia proved that model. Okay. So you can't argue with me. You just have a bad sales process if they're constantly demanding you and you don't know how to say no, which is a whole nother conversation. We can talk about that on other episodes. But I look at it as if you're putting out helpful content, how to live the glamorous lifestyle, literally like when I was looking to build an AI agent myself on N8N, one company put out a 3-hour video on creating your first AI agent. Now I had to watch this in blocks because it's a little,
your attention span isn't back.
It's not going to work for 3 hours, right? I think I did it in like different segments.
Yeah.
But like, I think that's a way that you can really make sure you're going with someone. Like you're seeing them do the work, talk about the work, show the results. That's an easy way to kind of be like, all right, this is kind of legit versus, I see when I've reached out to agencies for help on ads or whatever, they'll just send a proposal and I'll be like, all right, well, how do I know if this works?
That's a great point. I think I told you I'm doing a little side project, and same thing. I was on YouTube and I was looking at all the videos on like how to do it. I mean, I probably watched 20 hours of videos to get to a level where I understood. And there is that instant credibility of like, okay, this person is telling me at a level of detail what to do. And that adds credibility. They're not talking like generalities. They're not talking at the 50,000 foot level, right? They're helping me actually like solve a problem. And then if I decide, hey, I don't want to actually do it myself, I want to hire, like that's who I'm going to go to, right? Like, because they clearly can do it.
Yeah. And it's a long game. What people don't realize, when most people jump into our mastermind, whenever anybody buys from us or jumps into the community, we always ask like, why'd you jump in? What are you most interested in learning? Almost all of them say, I've been listening to the podcast for years and years. It just takes time. When I did this podcast is going on 11 years now, I think. And
you're a dinosaur, man.
No.
You're a podcasting dinosaur.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, most podcasts don't make it past one episode.
Yeah, I know. It's like
Right?
It's like 85% don't get past one episode or something like that.
I think the rest doesn't make it past 10 episodes or 6 or something.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. It's just kind of like water going through the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes a long time and people just need to be patient to really kind of stand out. And wrapping up, I like the new thing that you guys are doing around kind of getting Clutch verified, because honestly, people used to game your system with reviews, I think. I've even seen videos about that in the past. But I like how you guys are like researching them and being like, when were they established and what's their credit history? which is very telling in a lot of different companies. And you rank them ahead of everybody too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We sort of recognized, look, we have a whole team that sort of like is tasked with looking at every review and trying the best we can to sort of filter out the ones that we don't think are real. But we realized that there was another level of credibility we could offer. And it's just that it's like, okay, how long has this company been in business? Find the actual business registration, where did it come from? And then, yeah, the credit safe, like, like credit report, like it's more for financial companies, but it tells a lot about the character of the company. And so we feel it's a good indicator of like who you're going to be working with. And so, yeah, it's a great product. It's I would like to get to a place where every company that's showcased on Clutch is Clutch verified. It just for us, it adds credibility to the quality of the site, and it's not expensive. We have some cost to go out and do it, but it's like, our goal is to create better quality on Clutch and showcase those agencies that do good work.
Very cool. Well, awesome. Well, thanks so much, Tim, for coming on the show. Everyone listening, make sure you go check out Clutch and go get verified so you come out ahead of all your competitors and people know you're legit. That's an easy way to really stand out in the marketplace. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, like it out, share it, and until next time, have a swank day.